As I stare out onto this landscape of electrophiliacs, I feel my righteous efforts hit me face on like spit in the wind. I am called misanthrope by the uninformed, unenlightened observer, me wishing such a base feeling surged through my veins. The stupid simplicity of hatred antithetically juxtaposed to my swell of thought would be a relief, a blessing wrapped in black tissue paper. I do not wish to rape your mothers, burn your fathers, steal your daughters, or beat your brothers. No, I do not hate my fellows. Deep within me flows sympathy. I have felt her pain. I have held his burden, had my flesh dug into under its oppressive weight. Blood spilt, bones broke. But for what have I done this? Played the mule, toiled ceaselessly, only to have my efforts brought to naught. There is a rising in the east, while the youth of America sleep, while they cry for more, for doing less, and are so delivered. Those who have not forgotten the intrinsic worth of discipline, backbreaking work, and vision grow and rightfully threaten to take over the role of the haves, shrugging off their old title of have-nots onto the piss and mud-covered ground for us to pick up when we find ourselves naked and hungry. And will they have sympathy? The answer is in the question. Did you? The ultimate reinstitutionalization of reality will be when you find yourself on the other side of the stick, asking for something, anything, in a foreign tongue you never dreamt you'd speak, sleeping in a cold you never knew you'd feel. The time is coming, America, and it's coming fast. Now perhaps as quick as Andromeda.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Jesus Charlie. What you just heard was something that I call the country monologue, and it's sort of a poem that came to me several years ago. I was a sophomore in college, and I was taking a shower, and I just had this weird little monologue going through my head, and I really liked it, and I was able to go and write it down before I forgot it. I might have even gotten out of the shower early just so I could get to somewhere where I could write it down and record it. And it's something I've played before, and I've included it in other places. I've never played it on Jesus Charlie, and but I wanted to put it here just so I can maybe consider starting to have regular installments to maybe start reading some of the stuff I've written over the course of the years, maybe the past 5 years or so. So this is the first of that being a possibility, and we'll see what comes of it. I mean, again, not a huge reader, so it might be a bit of a task to read through long writings and everything. I don't know how much fun that would be to listen to either, but wanted to put this out there, give it a shot, and we'll get along with our regularly scheduled programming from this point on. Jesus Charlie, thank you for listening.
I still lived in this country, so I've seen, all of this.
So this is the first clip of Jesus Charlie for next week. I just decided. So it's Saturday, Valentine's Day. Delane is getting down on some archetypal figureheads.
Just what up?
What's up? What's up?
We're getting down.
Are you slowing it down?
Oh, we're so slowed down. I don't even know if I can go fast.
Can you say that slower?
So slow down.
I'm gonna have to come back to you because I didn't quite get that yet. If you can do it slower next time, maybe we could do it. But yeah, we're here. This is Grant Park, setting the scene. Lawrence and
is this Grant Park? Because
this is Boulevard Heights.
Yeah, is it Historic Boulevard or is it technically Armwood? Because I saw that sign out there, and I'm just generally confused.
I think people wish that this area was Grant Park because that sounds a lot nicer.
Yeah, it's one of those co-opting the nicer name thing. I get it.
Yeah. So we're pretty close where it's arguable that this, for the uninformed and uninitiated, might think, yeah, that's probably Grant Park.
Yeah, it's a nice place,
Right.
I went straight down Boulevard the other day, and I'd never gone towards the penitentiary. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy how things just shift around here.
Yeah,
One neighborhood is just like, oh man, magical wonderland, and then like, you know, couple blocks over, nothing but trap houses,
Right.
and a penitentiary like out of nowhere.
Right. I mean, it's a beautiful building too. I think
It is.
had to have been repurposed because there's no way that's always been just for prisoners, you know.
It's a surreal experience. The first day Lauren and I walked by it, like the sun was shining on it. It was like very beautiful. Like the light was just catching everything perfectly. And then slowly the reality of like there
what
are people in prison there, bro. Like that inside of there is the rest of their life.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, Atlanta, I think, is on like a knife's edge right now. And I don't know where. I've tried so many times to get a good idea. Lauren's showing me something. Okay, bye. I've been trying to get a good idea of where you live, and I can't really recall. So, are you familiar with Lee Street?
Lee Street, yes. Yes, I am.
How far off of Lee Street is it to your house?
I'm about biking probably like less than 20 minutes away from, definitely less than 20 minutes away from Lee Street. In a car, probably like 10 minutes.
So what road would you get off of on Lee Street? Would you take a right on the Cascade, or?
I usually don't go down Lee Street. I take Ralph David Abernathy until it turns into Cascade, and then just turn down Dillo from there.
Oh yeah, I know that road.
Yeah.
How is it when? I don't think I've done Cascade, like Ralph David into Cascade. I don't think I've done that ride before. I've definitely been on both of them separately, but how are the roads over there?
They're okay. Once you get closer towards where I live, like after you've passed West End basically, and then West View, it starts to get slightly nicer. Like there are at least bike lanes, even though a lot of them just have debris in them.
Hashtag Delane.
Hashtag in Delane. But yeah, they're nice. They're nice. But there's that stretch right in the West View to West End where there's a lot of work going on. So it should potentially be good one day, but right now it sucks.
Yeah, definitely in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, it's a city on the go.
Lauren, show me some things.
This is my etching.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing prints this weekend, so I was gonna go. I have to go to school all day because I have to do 4 prints.
Oh wow! I didn't realize both of those went into. So Lauren showed me this metal etching. It's got this character who's like.
She's like diving over some bar that links the two plates, and they're.
Oh, I see. Very hard to describe this.
Yeah, it's hard.
Orally, I don't know how.
It came from.
Laurely. LOL-ly.
Hashtag Laurely art.
Oh, Lauren, that should be your Etsy store. Laurely art. Oh.
You can use those like MySpace glitter text.
Yeah. Like a shining gif of like glitter that has like occasional shooting stars.
Art.
It's
art,
inspired
art,
by
art.
this.
Okay. Interesting.
Which these came from my figure drawing class.
Are these real people that you drew?
Yeah.
So did that girl really have half her head shaved?
No.
I was about to say, Jesus Christ,
I just like
what a
we
bizarre
had so
choice.
many. These were just from like warm ups and stuff,
Yeah.
so we hadn't done anything with them otherwise. And so I was like, well, I want to reuse these because they're cool. I can paint them and make them into something much more intentional. So
today's Valentine's Day. Have you guys done anything Valentinian?
he gave me some of his cookies.
Cool.
She ate my cookies.
No.
I
brought
meant
them
to
as a
say
special.
that in a weird way. No, but anyways, we ate cookies. Yeah, the cool kids, and then we went for a walk and had like Valentine's discussion.
Yeah, we did. We did talk about
It's
our
like,
relationship.
what is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Baby, don't hurt me.
We had a pretty
No
good.
more.
Love.
We had a
What
conversation.
is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. Have you seen Night at the Roxbury?
Yeah. No.
Have you seen it? Yeah, no. Definitely not.
So totally not.
I have definitely not seen that movie.
I was never interested in that movie.
That movie is hilarious, man.
I bet it's funny, but
Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell. honestly, I think it's a movie that could have been too stupid, but they hit it right on the mark. And they hit it so far on the edge that it's like, wait, is this stupid? And then they're like, no, it's not really. And you're like, okay, this is fucking
I think
hilarious.
it's because they're among the first to do stuff like that.
Probably. Maybe.
There was a certain realm, like of cultural like absurdity that was just more acceptable, than now everything is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it doesn't have the same effect.
Maybe,
And I feel like they were, but also Night at the Roxbury as well as Wayne's World, they both came from Saturday Night Live first, and I think that that's partially why it was such a hit, because it was new at the time.
It was also, I guess, in the zeitgeist, so to speak. If people were seeing it on the SNL and it was a regular bit, then they're like, oh yeah, Night at the Roxbury, the movie, that's going to be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like much more classic.
So it's just like, what is love? What is love, baby, don't hurt me.
I got these rocks from the botanical.
Lauren got a little mat of rocks. It looks like a circular mat made of precious stones, and Delaine's got some rocks of his own.
No, rocks is better. No, they're in them for free.
Okay, I mean, I don't think that, like...
Isn't that great?
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool.
Cool. I'm gonna have my friend make a necklace of them.
Cool. I've lost my marbles. Lawrence got...
I got marbles, I guess.
We were just talking about Hook a little bit ago and how people who are in their 40s think that movie is one of Robin Williams' worst because they were already grown up, and when they saw it, they thought, oh man, this movie is like... It's too childish. Whereas my sister and I, and maybe Delane, have you seen that movie, Delane?
Which one are we
Hook?
talking about? Hook? I did, but it's not one of those movies that stuck with me.
Damn.
I know I remember watching it.
That movie can make me ball up, man.
The last time we watched it, I remember we cried.
It's hard not to.
Well, that's always
Unless you're 40. Unless you're 40 years old.
Honestly, The Lion King is the only movie that kind of stuck with me, and maybe the first Toy Story, and then after. I intentionally started running away from movies like that because I felt like my childhood was following me in pop culture, just like that was the beginning of noticing the cycle of the same movies coming out. And the memories weren't allowed to stay in my childhood, so I purged entirely and hollowed myself out as a person, and I no longer actually exist.
So Buddhist. The whole time I was listening to that, I was just thinking, man, you're just reading a passage from Siddhartha Gautama's autobiography.
I have a hollow shell of a person.
That's when he finally became enlightened. What's his name? Siddhartha? How do you say it? Guantanamo? Siddhartha
No,
Guantanamo?
it's not Guantanamo.
I'm just going to say that because I can say that word.
I'm going to read the autobiography of Aoki.
Josh says
That book.
great things.
I read the first chapter a while ago, but I didn't end up reading it. But then he came up again in my life, and I was like, this is a sign I'm going to read this book.
Cool.
So it's next to my bed as a reminder.
Any closing thoughts? This has been sort of a tangential conversation, but it's the Valentine's edition, so we have some leeway.
Every day is Valentine's Day.
So it's a good thing to leave on, definitely. Except tomorrow it won't be true, but.
Well, I think the spirit of Valentine's Day should stay alive.
Well, hey, they say even a broken clock is right twice a day.
They do say that. They indeed do say that.
So, Delane, how are you going to leave us?
Hopefully wondering, what it is.
With an A or an O? Wandering or wondering?
Both,
So A/O.
You start wondering, and then, you just start wandering. And then, who knows where you'll end up after that.
Tis true. That was actually my pronunciation of an A and O being...
Delane, it's just delightful.
Oh, Delane, you're such a joy.
I go back into a pipe.
Delane, your initials must be DMT because you're Delane who is the most thinking.
Delane, no middle name, Williams.
My middle name actually does have DM.
Well,
What?
It's DM.
let's go ahead and say goodbye.
All right.
Adios.
Adios.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh.
Brother, sister, fun. Today is February 16th. It is 10:35. It's a Monday. Usually Jake and I would be recording Weekend Review right now, probably pretty close to done with it. So that's the first key that something is different and something is wrong here. And that thing is that I have made a major mistake tonight and fucked up gloriously in an awful, awful, inconsiderate, and baby level emotional IQ level as well. Man, I feel really bad right now. I feel like I need to get an IQ test to make sure that I don't have the emotionality of a toddler. So today's Jake's birthday, and I guess I should start by sincerely and heartfeltly saying, happy birthday, Jake. I love you, man. I'm glad you're in my life. I think this podcast is really, really awesome and really important to both of us to the same level, which is rare. And I apologize because tonight I took that away from you not in a direct way or on purpose or anything, but for some reason today, Jake's birthday, I was aware of the fact that it was his birthday earlier today, and then I forgot through the course of the day, I guess just working, and then today it's been really, really cold and rainy, and I biked back in the rain, and it was below 40, it was really, really cold, and so my whole perspective kind of got shifted, and I guess just between work and that bike ride, somehow I completely lost the remembrance that today's Jake's birthday. So that was problem number one. And then I had to take Erica's car to go towards Jake's house because it's still raining, and it's a pretty bad rain when it rains for this many hours. But I was heading over to Jake's apartment, and he called me about, I don't know, fourth of the way there, and he was like, hey man, I thought you didn't get off till 10, and I've never gotten off that late, but it's his birthday, so I will grant him that. And I was like, no, I'm on my way to your place now. I've never gotten off at 10. I get off, I work 10 to 6, but I've never gotten off that late. And so he tells me that he thought I was getting off at 10, and we were supposed to have a guest tonight, which I guess I'll get into that in a minute. And he was like, oh man, I'm out eating right now with everybody. We're at Elmire. It's a taco place or something. A burrito place probably is more accurate. And he was just telling me that, and I was kind of shocked because I was like, we're usually very reserved with our Monday nights. We got Charlie scratching on the door. Man, is he gonna be bothering me? Man, I'm gonna try to let him in. Charlie, can you leave me alone, or what? This is not. So okay, I'm gonna let Charlie stay in here for as long as he's not barking at me. But Jake tells me that he's over at Elmire, and I'm really confused because, we don't usually meet that late for podcasts, so I didn't understand why he was out. Again, I'd forgotten it was his birthday. And so I was riding around trying to talk to him, trying to figure out what was going on and to understand why our schedules weren't, in sync with each other. And so we basically got to a point where I was just saying that I was kind of tired, and I didn't really want to have to start the show much later than we usually did, and that maybe we should just reschedule it. And I was saying all of this without being able to remember that it was his birthday today. And so I can kind of hear his tone going down, and I'm just kind of wondering, why is he going down with his tone? He sounds disappointed. I mean, he's the one who went out, but I'm driving around, basically driving back to my apartment. Charlie, jeez, man, you are such an awful little guy. Get out of here. Let the record show I gave him a chance, and I was even petting him. So we're just going to have to pretend hopefully he'll go away. We're going to have to pretend that he will go away, which is unlikely. Anyway, so I drove back to my apartment, and I'm I guess content at that point just to go back in and reschedule it for Tuesday or Wednesday. But it's about that point that finally I remember that it's his birthday, and my heart drops to the floor. I feel like a dumbass, and I feel like this huge asshole who just took away something that Jake and I both look forward to immensely. And I took it away from him on his birthday, and this is the first time that we've actually missed our scheduled podcast night. Gosh, Charlie's so awful. And so I'm realizing all this, and I feel really, really bad. It's a complete shift of how I feel. And then I kind of remember stuff that Lindsay and I were talking about, and just this general feeling of sort of the friendship that Lindsay was describing that she has with people, and like her, not so much expectations, but just like what people bring to the table when they're friends, and what friendship really means, and like a real deep and loving friendship. And I heard those words go through my mind in some paraphrased way, and I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to Elmere, which I had previously said I didn't want to stop at, and I have to apologize to Jake and do whatever I can at this point to make it right, which might be limited because I've just been really stupid. So I drive back and park, go to the Elmere burrito place, and Jake isn't there when I first get there. He comes out a little while after I arrive. He was in the bathroom or something. And I think I go and give him a hug, and I say how sorry I am and how stupid I was to have forgotten, and explain the whole situation about why I've forgotten. And, I can tell that I think I need to tell him that more than he needs to hear it or something, because I just feel so stupid and so bad that, I feel like I can't explain enough what happened and why it happened. And one of my greatest fears would be that he doesn't believe that I actually honestly forgot, because I did, which is a convenient excuse for sure. But hopefully the way I reacted to it shows that I was really actually sorry. Because if I was lying about forgetting about it, I wouldn't go back, because I guess I wouldn't have wanted to go in the first place. So it's like, it was the only thing I could think of to possibly correct the situation. And it was hugely influenced by Lindsay Glass, I would say. Just this overwhelming understanding of what a friendship means to her, and that if I guess basically I imagined what would have happened if I had done that to Lindsay as sort of my bar, because Jake and I have been friends for so long. I guess that was a Freudian slip. Sorry about that, Jake. Josh and I have been friends for a long time too, but that's definitely not the part of this story that matters. Jake and I have been friends for a really long time. I think he's actually probably my oldest friend that I'm still actively engaged with and in touch with. Charlie is so bad right now. And, he deserves better than to have his birthday forgotten about by his oldest friend. And so I still feel pretty bad about it. I knew I needed to record it while it was still kind of permeating, so I could feel some sort of relief just from the pressure that I'm putting on myself to acknowledge the fact that I fucked up. And I have to make a weekend review post now to apologize, and I'll definitely try to hoist the blame on myself for that, at least as much as I can, without being strangely sappy, which wouldn't really go with weekend reviews style. But so I saw Jake. I'm talking to him. I'm apologizing. I'm explaining. I'm asking if there's anything I can do. Can I buy him a drink? He doesn't really want to drink at that point, because he's already had a few, and he's not trying to get incomprehensibly drunk, even though it's his birthday. He deserves it. He can do it if he wants. I hope he does. I hope that's where he went. But I'm like, dude, just tell me anything. What do you want? What can I get you for your birthday? What's something special that you've had your eye on that you don't have right now? And he looked at me and he was like, dude, honestly, toilet paper and trash bags. And I was like, man, come on, don't tell me that stupid shit. What do you want? Do you want an album? Is there a band you're into right now? Can I get you a t-shirt, or I don't know, what are you into? And he's just like, no, man, really, just trash bags and toilet paper. And so I'm like, oh man, I understand that that's a practical thing, but I'm trying to be heartfelt with you right now. I don't want to get you a practical gift. I want to buy you a diamond necklace to make you realize that I'm sorry. Although Jake, to be fair, wouldn't like a diamond necklace, so I'd have to adjust that. But so I go over to Sarah, and I ask her, Jake's girlfriend, is there anything that Jake wants or likes right now, or is there anything special that I can actually get for him? And she basically repeats what he said, that there isn't really anything that he wants, but he could use some trash bags and toilet paper. So he was with a group of friends, our mutual friends, and they all got up to leave. They're going out to a different bar, and we say goodbye quickly after I get there. And so I was like, well, if I'm really going to be apologetic about this and show him that I'm really sorry, then I need to go right now to the store, and I guess I have to buy him trash bags and toilet paper. So I go to the store. I go to Kroger right after I leave, telling Jake sorry and happy birthday again. And I actually asked our friend Alex, shout out to Alex Wharton, because he's a guy who's well in touch with his emotions, I feel like. So I was like, dude, can you please try to explain to Jake that I really am sorry? Because I felt like he would be able to do that in a good way that I maybe wouldn't be able to do because I'm too involved or something. But anyway, that was the last thing I said to Jake. And then I headed to the store, got those things. I got him a bottle of wine and some beer too. And I guess we're rescheduling for either Tuesday or Wednesday for weekend review. And I think regardless of whether it's sooner or later, I'm going to try to take the beer and the wine and the trash bags and the toilet paper to him tomorrow, just to show him that I guess I care about him, you know? And I have to give a lot of credit to pulling that out of me, I think, to Lindsay Glass, because I think that if I hadn't had the conversations that we had yesterday, I think I would have probably just gone home and I probably wouldn't even thought about it, which is why I felt like, man, my emotional intelligence is so understimulated. Like, very, like, to not think that would be a big deal. Because I don't think I would think it was a big deal. I would respect anyone who didn't want to go anywhere, because sometimes I don't want to go places that are, like, obligatory. Jeez, Charlie is barking a lot. I'm going to have to stop this in a second because that's very distracting. But the point of the matter is, I messed up tonight. My talks with Lindsay Glass most recently made me realize the best way to remedy the situation. After I had those thoughts, I acted on them and followed them through to their actual conclusion. And then tomorrow and Wednesday at the very latest, but I intend, if the weather is bearable, to go tomorrow. I'm going to take Jake those things, and it might even be better that way, because it'll probably just be me and him, which maybe I can be a little bit more sincere and frank with him, and, you know, explain, or maybe not explain, but just be a bigger gesture or something. But yeah, so weekend review. It's going to be late this week. We are going to have a guest. I was going to say earlier that I was going to call the guest and beg them to reschedule for tonight after I realized that it was Jake's birthday and that I was messing that up. But I will definitely apologize again during the actual show. So yeah, I am both thankful and regretful of the situation, because I feel like I have never acted on something in this way as I did tonight. But at the same time, it's like a painful kind of experience, because in order to learn this lesson that I learned tonight, it was through honest failure and then all of the honest emotions that come after that, which is like, you can't really plan for that kind of a lesson, which is a lesson in and of itself, I guess. But I think I'm going to go tend to Charlie now, because it is, I guess, now a Jesus Charlie clip for this moment, and he is not happy, and I do not know why. And I think it's aggravating everyone in the house right now. So I'll go see what's wrong with him, see if we can assuage the situation, or if I will just inevitably make another person mad. That's a JK. I know Charlie's not a person. But again, apologies to Jake. Thanks to Lindsay Glass. Happy birthday to Jake, my friend, my podcasting partner, the cohort. Hope he's out having a good time. And yeah. You're listening to Jesus Charlie. It's Friday night. It's I don't know, sometime around 8:30 or so. I'm headed to the store. Things got shifted around a little bit this week. Definitely releasing this episode a little bit later than I thought I would, although I haven't really established a specific day yet. So a day of releasing the show anyway. So I don't really feel like I'm late necessarily. The show kind of just gets done on a weekly basis, and then the next one starts when the next week begins. Usually I go to the store on Thursday. You probably know that by now. But I went and met with Lindsay last night, since she's out of town this weekend. Shout out to Lindsay. She's going to a wedding in Miami, Florida, so I'm sure she's having a good time. Pretty sure it's a different world down there. She sent me some pictures. It's warm, sunny. I'm sure it's summer conditions. And today it actually kind of snowed for the first time, although it was more like just ice falling from the sky. So we met last night, recorded some of that. It'll be featured in the next episode of Territories. That was great. And had a few points on my list that I wanted to get to. Definitely trying to... I've had a bunch of things that I've been wanting to get out via Jesus Charlie this week. And I just haven't really had time to do it. Weekend review was pushed back until Tuesday. Monday, I recorded a clip of it, or I recorded one clip of Jesus Charlie. But Tuesday, that didn't work. Wednesday, I think Wednesday night, I put together the new episode of Territories, and Thursday night went out and hung out with Lindsay. And so here we are. We're just trying to fit it in. You got to get in where you fit in, as Big Boy says. So... I'm on my way to the store right now. I'm excited about that. Always excited to go to the store. This is a pretty local Kroger, so you never know who you're going to meet, too. It's pretty centralized, and a lot of people who live in this area, which is probably most of the people who I know, they don't have too many Krogers to choose from, so there's a chance I might even be able to strike up a little conversation with someone, which is always fun. And a week ago today, something I wanted to talk about, I hung out with my friend Stephen Abaddon. Shout out to Stephen. We're going to hopefully have him on Weekend Review sometime in the near future, in the next few episodes that comprise Season 2 of Weekend Review. And had a really good time with him last week. I actually wanted to talk about that while it was still fresh, but it's been so long now I don't really remember a lot of the major details. I know it would have been great to record, but you know, it was sort of a more intimate conversation, so I'm not sure how much of it would have actually been usable and like understandable. You know, a lot of inside jokes, stuff that he and I both know that each other of us knows. So that was really good. I was gramporally advised, had some tea. He drank some mixed drinks that he made for himself, and it was really fun. The vibe of the evening got more and more relaxed and friendly as the night went on, and we played this game where we were shooting a BB gun that he has at these paint cans, and just it was funny. Steven, over the course of the evening, got worse and worse because he was drinking, and I just kind of stayed the same. He has a really good BB gun. Props to that BB gun, because the sight on it is like deadly accurate. My dad has a BB gun up at our mountain house, the mountain house which I rarely go to, and I've tried shooting with that thing numerous times, and the sight on it is just abysmal. It's awful. It's if you hit anything you were aiming for, it was probably an accident, you know, that kind of thing. But Steven's gun was pretty well sighted, and I enjoyed that. Let's see, aside from that, geez, again, I was intending on that being more of a substantial thing to talk about. It's definitely been pretty cold. Had to get a new jacket this week. Exciting news. Sound the alarms. My old jacket, my orange jacket, which has become sort of a staple. I've definitely got a winter uniform that I wear every day, and I have this orange jacket that I really feel good about wearing because it's super visible, and so it's like I feel like it's a safety precaution as much as a great jacket, just for keeping out the cold and holding in the warm. The zipper was already starting to break on like the actual thing, how you zip it up, and it has this cool little back pocket, which most bicycle shirts do, where you can store things, and that had already broken a few weeks back, and I was able to deal with that, you know, because the jacket still functioned, you know, 95% of its duty appropriately. And the other day, I was trying to zip it up, and it just wouldn't zip, and it was like the most frustrating thing ever. I was getting really, really mad. because it was taking so much time that I was actually starting to become late for work, which really makes me mad if there's not a good reason for that. I definitely don't want to get late. I don't want to be late to work just because I'm trying to zip up a fucking jacket. That's retarded. That's ridiculous. That's the hallmark of frustration for me. So I got a new jacket. I'm loving that jacket. I don't know why. That was one of the things that came to mind. Let me check my list real quick, because I have things to talk about. Yeah, that's it actually. And that's fitting because I'm here at Kroger now. It's a decent little clip, and it'll go towards the ultimate conclusion of this episode of Jesus Charlie. So hang in there. Stay tuned, and I'll be right back. You're listening to Jesus Charlie. Grocery chore complete. Unfortunately, there was no one there who I knew, so no conversations struck up. But hey, it wasn't a strikeout, that's for sure. Walking around, listening to Comedy Bang Bang, having my own isolated laugh fits. Very funny. And I hope walking around. Jesus fucking Christ, all my shit is falling out back there. Hope walking around laughing to myself is like an endearing thing and not a weird looking thing. I mean, I'm not going to change it regardless, but I hope that it comes across as a nice smiley kind of thing to see. Spend a little bit more on groceries than I usually do for no particular reason. It seems like it's gradually going up. Maybe it's because it's the winter and there's like more opportunity to eat or something. But whatever, easy come, easy go. Something I've been really concerned with recently, trying to think if I want to talk about stuff that's like reflexive of the actual show itself, but I think so. I realized, you hear words all the time and you kind of know what they mean just intuitively, just because you have seen them and heard them so many times in context of what they mean. And a word for me recently that I've really been kind of hearkening on is narrative, and how to like kind of build a good narrative and how to make a compelling narrative, and even really fundamentally what the word narrative means, because I probably could have given a loose definition for that word maybe 3 to 6 months ago, and it would have been approximately correct, but these days I feel like narrative is sort of like what I'm trying to really wrap my head around, especially as soon as I turn on the recorder. I'm just really concerned about, like, does this make sense? Does this chronologically feed into what I'm talking about? Like, am I jumping around too much? Is there coherency? It's narrative and coherency, really. I have a friend at work who started listening to Territories, and he was kind of funny because he came up to me at my work and he was like, "Hey man, I've been listening to Territories and I really like it." And I was really excited, but a little bit trepidatious. Had a little bit of trepidation because he and I, it's like when you have school friends and people who I guess are work friends and stuff, like you know a certain side of them, and he said this as well, and it's just kind of weird when you break down that wall and like you figure out what kind of person they are outside of work. And so he was saying that when he first saw that it had been posted, like I think maybe episode 5 or something of Territories, he was like, "Oh, cool, Kenneth has a podcast. I'm curious about that." And then he got kind of worried about whether or not I would be like a dick or something, I think were his words. Which, I worry not so much about being a dick or not, but just like, I don't know, having a job is a nice thing, and you'd never want to do anything that would compromise that if you have a good thing going. And so when you start to kind of interweave your personal life into your private life, it can be a little disconcerting at first, but I think it's just something I have to get used to. I just listened to the most recent episode of Dixon Janes, which I guess was like all done in one shot, which he doesn't usually do that. And in fact, I can't really recall any episodes where he's just recorded almost the entire, if not the entire episode just in one go. But he did that, and it was really, really enjoyable. But he's always talked about like this. He has the Scarborough Dude persona, and he sort of everything he talks about on his show is sort of branded as the work of the Scarborough Dude, so to speak. And I mean, it's not necessarily like a real persona that he's putting on. I don't think, actually. I can't really say that for sure, because I really think this is like a podcasting kind of persona, where like when he goes to podcasting events in Canada, he's kind of known as the Scarborough Dude. So maybe it is more of like a all-encompassing, public-facing kind of mask maybe that he puts on when he is doing those things. But it's interesting as you start to make shows and like doing Weekend Review territories and Jesus Charlie. I feel like I'm putting a lot of myself out there, and a lot of different pieces as well. Like, I think you could probably arrange them in levels of seriousness. Weekend Review is like the least serious, although we try to be seriously funny. But I mean, it's not like we're talking about like, the same things I talk about with Lindsay, that's for sure. And we don't have the same tone. Jesus Charlie is definitely, again, it's more reflective in general, I guess, whereas I guess it's more personal and more reflective than Territories, although probably similar kind of tone. But putting yourself out there and having all these different ways that you express yourself, and then kind of recording it, I don't know. I hesitate to say that podcasting is like necessarily an art form in the same way that like being a musician is, because well, no, I'd say certain podcasts definitely are art forms, but I don't know if any of the ones I'm affiliated with would necessarily be considered the highest expressions of art forms, and that's just me being humble, I love the shows that I do, but I wouldn't put them up there with like, something like Radiolab or This American Life, or even Comedy Bang Bang, or anything on the Earwolf Network that I've listened to. I think that it's possible that we could get there with all those shows, but it would take time, which I'm definitely happy and willing to give, and definitely work, which again, more than happy to give that as well. So I'm just embracing the process, but being kind of self-aware of it at the same time. I'm back at my apartment now. There's like some water. I'm trying to make sure it is not ice, because I don't want to be slipping and crashing into cars. And I'm definitely happy to announce, as part of my consideration of developing a coherent and comprehensive narrative, that I want to start doing more bits and sort of segments that are consistent week to week. Like, Comedy Bang Bang has almost every episode they'll do Would You Rather, which is really funny, and they also have Plugs, which is where the guests talk about anything that they might be involved with. And then anyone who listened to like You Talk and You Do to Me would remember all of the side fake podcasts that Adam Scott Aukerman did together, which that reminds me, I saw Hot Tub Time Machine 2 this week with Erica for free. Not the best movie I've ever seen, but Adam Scott was in it, and I did enjoy that because they talked about that so much in You Talk and You Do to Me. Check that podcast out if you're into comedy podcasts. That's one of the fucking funniest ones I've ever heard. But in that spirit of having recurring bits and things to look forward to, I'm happy to announce that today, Friday, February 20th, my mother's birthday, actually. Happy birthday, Mom. I'll be seeing her later this weekend for a family dinner. I want to introduce a new skit, a new bit, a new weekly recurring bit that I'd like to call Song of the Week. 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 And I don't mean, I have no strength, this is my song. Yes, indeed, Song of the Week. So this is a new segment that I'm trying out. I want to make it a permanent installment, but this is the first time. And so, Song of the Week. Basically, this is going to be sort of looking at whatever song might have been the song that I was most into during that week. Go figure. I listened to the majority of the music that I listened to while biking, to and from work, around, etc. And so usually, over the course of the week, there will be some song by some artist that is particularly really hitting the spot. Maybe it's lyrically, or the music is really tight, and it kind of pumps me up. And so this week it's going to feature a Father John Misty song. For those of you who may not know Father John Misty, he was the drummer in the Fleet Foxes band before they broke up. Interesting little side note there. I actually saw their last show when they performed in Japan during my study abroad. I was able to go and see them, sort of treat myself. I think it was sort of like a birthday present. Went and bought like a $60 ticket to go see them at some venue over in Tokyo. And that was really cool. But it was interesting because I could sense they were kind of shaky at that point. And lo and behold, they ended up breaking up shortly thereafter. So yes, the drummer from Fleet Foxes, he has a pretty long solo career as well, primarily under the name Jay Tillman. And really cool little background on Joshua Tillman, who is Father John Misty, a.k.a. Jay Tillman. He was sort of hung up on religion. That's actually one of his lyrics in a previous album of Father John Misty. And I think what happened with him is basically he got a hold of some hallucinogenic drugs, some mushrooms, maybe some other things, acid perhaps. And basically just kind of realized that he was taking stuff way too seriously. And he had this kind of persona that he wanted to embody, at least as well as I've understood it in interviews, that he wanted to kind of come across as some esoteric, kind of deeply troubled, drifting kind of singer-songwriter musician that was very mysterious and hard to kind of pin down. And then he did all these drugs, did whatever he did between his last Jay Tillman record and his first Father John Misty record, which was called Fear Fun, and just completely changed. And I got into that album, the first Father John Misty album, Fear Fun, about a year ago. I remember listening to it in the winter and just really loving the lyrics, just because, I don't know, I was a Jay Tillman fan, but, he used such strange, sort of very vivid imagery, but sort of abstract. A lot of biblical references, a lot of nature scenes. And then in these Father John Misty records, it's just so much more real and so much more identifiable. And I feel like it better captures what it is to be an actual person in our generation. And so recently, last week, Father John Misty came out with a new record, which is called I Love You, Honey Bear, dedicated, I guess, to his wife, recently married. I believe her name is Emma something. I want to say Emma Thompson Tillman, but I don't think that's actually correct. Actually, I think I have Emma Elizabeth Tillman. Yeah, she's photo credited. I have the lyrics to all of his songs in front of me because I wanted to point out some choice phrases from my song of the week. But this album is really great. Have to say, the first album that he had under the moniker Father John Misty, that was a great album, start to finish. There's no flaws. In fact, I want to put it back on my MP3 player. Hopefully this vocal command will be a good cue to remember. But this album is it's all about, mostly about how much he loves his wife. And I really just identify with the feelings that he's expressing in all these songs. I love the words that he chooses. It's all just, again, it's so identifiable and so relatable and just no bullshit, I feel like if you listen to any of the Jay Tillman records, it's just a little bit more, there's a sadness there, but it's why are you so sad? And in these albums, it's a little bit more celebratory, I think. So my song of the week for this week is called When You're Smiling and Astride Me, which is track number 5. I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 on the new record. Not very many lyrics here. I might even actually be able to read them all just so you can kind of get a sense. And I will be playing the song after this clip. And I guess that'll end the episode. I guess that's a good way to end the episode. The lyrics, they're definitely sexual in nature. And I like that a lot, I have to say. The imagery here, there's no bullshit. One of the lines that I really enjoy singing along to, when you're smiling and astride me, I can hardly believe I found you, and I'm terrified by that. So, the imagery there, I can't help but imagine, having eye contact with a woman who is astride you, and just the feelings that he's expressing there, very relatable and very well put. So yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and read all the lyrics, because the last little couplet that is the last bit of the song before it ends is actually something that I think is the most poignant point of the song. So it starts out, he says, "There's no need to fear me, darling, I love you as you are when you're alone. I'd never try to change you, as if I could, and if I were to, what's the part I'd miss most? When you're smiling and astride me, I can hardly believe I found you, and I'm terrified by that. I've got nothing to hide from you, kissing my brother in my dreams or finding God knows in my jeans. You see me as I am, it's true, the aimless fake drifter and the horny man-child mama's boy to boot." And so this is the last line, and really like these words. I mean, it's not an original sentiment, but in the song itself, it's great, and I really think it hits home. So the song ends with him saying, "That's how you live free, to truly see and be seen." See and be seen. I just love that. I don't have any tattoos, and I don't really have any aspirations to get any tattoos, but the wisdom of that, to truly see and be seen, that is a very strong concept, and it's very true. And I love this whole album because even the songs that aren't clearly about his love for his wife seem like they are either like realization songs where he's kind of reflecting on the dumb stuff he did when he was not with his wife, and sort of like the process of coming to fall in love with someone completely, someone who can truly see you and someone who you can be seen by. And I can't recommend this album enough to anyone who is really into, I don't know, it's folky, and it's kind of like contemporary rock folk kind of feel to it. I mean, it's very similar to Fleet Foxes in a lot of ways, although not so, I wouldn't say it's so mountainy. This is gives me more of like maybe Midwest to Pacific kind of vibe, whereas like Fleet Foxes always made me feel like if you were listening to Fleet Foxes in North Georgia, like maybe you could even find them playing that music live somewhere, because it just seems like mountains are the perfect backdrop for that music. But listened to a few reviews online for this album, watched a few interviews of Josh Tillman, Father John Misty himself, just to kind of get a deeper sense. When I really get into an artist or an album or something, I like to get as much context as possible, because it puts so much more into the listening experience if you can remember the actual words that they were, and maybe comments that the artist made about the songs. It adds a new layer than just simply listening to it. I heard one interview on YouTube. There's this guy, I don't remember his name. He's some sort of a well-known album reviewer. I'm sure anyone who's watched reviews of albums online, on YouTube in particular, probably has seen this guy. And he was reviewing it and gave it a pretty good rating, although he didn't like the one electronic song on there, which is called True Affection, which I don't agree with his review of that. I think he should just go get fucked, because I think it's actually a really cool compliment to have like one electronic song that doesn't really match the rest of the album, although I think it matches quite well, and I think this album is very well sequenced from start to finish. I always like I like to preserve the order that artists decide that songs should go in, And I think it's important to listen to the album in the order that it's intended, just so you can kind of feel the flow. Because there's no doubt from the first song, I Love You, Honey Bear, self-titled, the titular track, I suppose, Scott Aukerman would say, all the way to I Went to the Store One Day, which is the last song. It's like nice bookends, you know. The first song kind of introduces his immense love for his wife and expresses it really well, and there's no bones about what that song is about. And then the last song is sort of talking about how they first met and then going into their future to their ultimate death. And it's a masterful album. I can't praise it enough. I have tickets to see this guy in March, and my only fear there is that I don't listen to his stuff so much that I'm sick of it by that time. So I'm trying to kind of control my dosage, you know. So I guess without further ado, that will conclude Song of the Week, and we'll go ahead and play out with When You're Smiling and Astride Me, so you can kind of get a feel of it yourself, and hopefully this little bit of background will make the lyrics sink in deeper and help you feel the music in a much more contextualized way, you know. So I guess that's it for this week's Jesus Charlie. Thanks for listening. Certainly more to come, and certainly Mordecai. Got more of everything on the horizon. We got Weekend Review coming up. Hopefully we'll have some guests. We didn't actually have one in our most recent episode because everything got so messed up, as you no doubt remember from previous clips. And we'll definitely have some more territory stuff coming out soon enough, although that might have to wait until sometime next week because Lindsay's out of town, as I mentioned also, and so we don't have enough quite yet for a full episode. But you know, maybe that'll give me some more time to do some Jesus Charlie stuff, which is good because I feel like I've been kind of slacking on that. And yeah, here it is. When You're Smiling and Astride Me. Enjoy Jesus Charlie, Podcast Empire, and we'll see you next week.
If I could, and if I were to, what's the part that I'd miss most? When you're smiling and astride me, I can hardly believe I found you, and I'm terrified by that. Oh, drifter and the honey man-child mama's boy to boot. That's how you live free, truly see and be seen.
You've been listening to
A production of
the Podcast Empire. Spread the word.